Hey everybody, it's Jack Graham with another episode of Straight Talk with Jack. Today we're going to talk about Jack, not about me, but about Jack Sheldon. Jack Sheldon's one of my favorite musicians of all time. For those of you who have not known about Jack, Jack was a West Coast player, made his mark in the 60s, 70s, he did it all. I mean, he had some TV shows. He played the theme for the Sandpiper, Shadow of Your Smile from Mancini. Probably heard that. If you haven't, it's beautiful. It's an amazing bit of trumpet playing. See what else? Worked with Goodman. And again, he made his mark on the West Coast jazz scene, in the 60s and 70s, along all those great West Coast players, Art Pepper and Frank Rossellino and Carl Fontana and Shelly Manne and some just great players out there. Jack's playing is just amazing. Just a few thoughts of mine on his playing. As you can hear in the background, a lot of soul, great sound, a unique sound. When you hear one note from Jack Sheldon, you know it's Jack. No one plays like him. His phrasing, his attack, every note is just a perfect note. Every note has a meaning. He sings quite uniquely as well. He sings just like he plays, just like Armstrong. Very few people do that. So just a talented guy. I mean, what an amazing life. You might have seen back when I was growing up, we had a show on called, I forget what it was called, but he did, I guess it was called Schoolhouse Rock, and he sang tunes to children about things that we need to know about. If I Were a Bill, if you remember that, might have remembered that, the Capitol building in the background, talking about how things get passed and that kind of thing in Congress. But he was just a great player and a funny guy. I saw him many times live, and man, I mean, a lot of it, it's pretty salty, but he was he's the kind of guy when he said hello, you started laughing. His comedy was just unbelievable, and we'll talk about that in a minute. I just have so much love for his playing. Again, every note, I think Tierney Sutton said it best at a YouTube video I saw recently. Every note was a pearl. He studied with Johan Rainey, a great Hollywood player. Johan, he played the solo in a movie called Chinatown. If I played it, you'd probably know it. But Jack studied with him till he was probably in his 60s. Jack practiced, from what I hear, 4 hours a day until he couldn't anymore, and practiced his singing for hours a day. But what a talent! And if you haven't heard of Jack Sheldon, listen to some things on YouTube, buy some things. Whether they're pretty hard to find. Some of them, Amazon might have a couple, but Discogs or some of the places you could buy used CDs and used vinyl. Just check it out. Jack Sheldon is just an incredible guy. We'll talk about a couple of the recordings. I have pretty much not everything he's done, but probably about 90% of it. I've got two more vinyl records coming from his early years. I thought they'd be here by today. They're not. But just some of my favorite things. Early in his career, put my glasses on here. He worked, recorded a lot of things live. This is a really great little CD. It's called The Entertainers. Shelly Manne's on this. Johnny Mercer actually sings on this. Rossolino, Howard Roberts, guitar player, Jack Marshall's on a couple cuts. And there's some really funny bits on here that he talks about, that he sings. The Atomic Bomb, you ought to hear that one. I think there's a version of Born to Lose. I don't know if it's on this one or not, but it's also in this period. It's a VSOP CD. Jack Sheldon presents the Entertainers. Then he did some recording with a quintet, again on back, I would guess this is probably 58, 55 in that area, with Joe Maiani on alto. Kenny Drew was really a pianist that made really his mark in Europe, but spent some time in the West Coast. Leroy Vinegar, the great bass player. Just great players on here. Zoot Sims is on here as well. This is Jack Sheldon, a quartet and a quintet. Some of his greatest playings on here. Another one here. This is this is Jack at the Golden Nugget, the old Golden Nugget in Las Vegas, where I saw him once. I remember I went there with my uncle, and we saw him play with not this band, but close to, I think Carl Fontana was in that band. Ross Tompkins, who's the pianist on the old Carson show, was on that band. This is a great band. Howard Roberts is on here, and Stan Levy, the great drummers, on here. Live at the Golden Nugget, and this is the one that I think there's some good comedy on here too. If you like, you'll love Jack Sheldon. He's just a funny guy, man. He's just great player. What a great person. Jack did a record that's been reissued a couple times. These are the same recordings in different packaging. On one's on Fresh Sounds Records and the other one's on GNP Crescendo. All-star band. It's Marty Page did the arrangements on here, I think. Green Dolphin Street. Just some great things on here. But Mel Lewis is on this. The great drummer. A lot of people know Mel Lewis from the Mel Lewis Thad Jones band in New York, and as a New York musician, because Mel was born in Buffalo, but he spent a lot of time really in the West Coast and was really influenced by Shelly Manne a lot. Red Calendar's on this, but these are all great. Jack Sheldon and his All-Stars. Connie Condoli's on this. Lenny Niehaus, Herb Geller. I mean, just a who's who. But that was Jack, and some of the other bands he worked with. He worked with a band that was led by Curtis Counts, that did some great recordings on contemporary. I've got these on vinyl somewhere, and they're just really, really great recordings, as was most of the contemporary recordings, which I talked about in a previous episode here. But Harold Land is on here, tenor player from the Clifford Brown Quintet, who moved to the West Coast for a while. Gerald Wilson's on here, playing trumpet, believe it or not, with Jack. But Carl Perkins, piano, Frankie Butler on drums. Curtis Counts Group, there's Volume 1 and Volume 2 is on here. One of the funniest things that Jack did with Jack Marshall, the guitar player, he did the Freaky Friday, the jazz opera. You got to hear this. This is pretty hard to find. If you can find it, it's going to be pretty expensive by now. But it's just funnier than all get it. I mean, it's just amazing. Jack. There's a picture of him in a swimming pool. His mother taught swimming in Los Angeles. And Jack ended up helping her teach swimming when he was young to make some money. But he was a great player. In later years, he had quite a great big band. It's in the background here. Arrangements by Tom Kubas, great arranger in L.A. And he did a number of recordings that have been reissued on Butterfly Records. Jack is Back, Jack Sheldon Orchestra Live, Listen Up, California Cool. And then he did some quintet recordings with Russ Tompkins. He and Russ Tompkins did a duo at the Money Tree in Toluca Lake out in the San Fernando Valley. every Sunday night, and I caught that a few times, and man, he did piano, and Jack was amazing. Got little, he did some pretty wild comedy in there too as well, legendary comedy. But you know, the records he did with Russ Tompkins are just amazing. Jack Sheldon and Russ Tompkins, Class Act, and I think Hollywood Heroes. Just great stuff. I can't recommend his. You learn about Jack Sheldon if you can. He's a great player. I have a number of things. These are just some of the things in vinyl. This is an old mono, playing it straight. Great recording. This has been reissued in stereo. I just have the mono version, which is really nice as well. It sounds real good. Jack's Groove. This is another vinyl version of the CD that I showed you before. That's that All-Star Big Band. He recorded with Marty Page, who was a great arranger. Did a lot of arrangements for different things and different people. Mel Torme, other people, and very in-demand arranger. Great players in here too. You know, you'll find Mel Lewis on here. You'll find Art Pepper in these bands. Here's a record called Out. This is an amazing record. It's the offbeat vocals of Jack Sheldon. Fun stuff. The Atomic Bomb is on here as well. He's just an amazing guy. Unfortunately, a lot of people remember him for his comedy and the TV shows, the Run Buddy Run and If I Were a Bill. Jack was also the Ed McMahon of Merv Griffin on the Merv Griffin show. He was Merv's sidekick and band leader, and there's some legendary stories about what went on there too. But unfortunately, Jack, you know, to a lot of people is known for these things and not his great playing. I don't think I've ever heard a bad Jack Sheldon recording. He's just a great player and a meticulous player. You just listen to that sound. What a great player. So if you don't know who Jack Sheldon is, find out. You'll be amazed. We'll do these things from time to time. We're not just going to talk about great records and other audio and vinyl and all this. We'll talk about different players from time to time. A couple things I did check out last night. I listened to a new recording that was a friend of mine turned me on to this, and I found a used version. It's just not a tick on this. I bought it from a guy in San Francisco off Discogs. Ben Webster, Atmosphere for Lovers and Thieves, recorded in Europe. Really recorded well, and I'll tell you, on a good audio system, you can hear the air going over Ben's reed, and just a great recording. There's a lot of ballads on this, and slower than normal versions of some standards. But what a great recording! If you can find this and you're into this period of music, he's just a great player, real soulful player, and a great band on here. They're European players, but they're great players. Ben Webster. Anyhow, that's about it for today. We'll probably do another video this week, and we'll get it up as soon as we can. Thank you all for watching. We'll check you later.
Do nothing till you hear from me. Take pay no attention to what's said.